Now it's time to understand aquatic ecosystem. Aquatic ecosystem we can divide in three parts: freshwater water ecosystem, then marine ecosystem, and brackish water ecosystem. Freshwater ecosystem salt content is 5 ppt. Examples: lakes, ponds, pools, springs, streams, and rivers. And marine ecosystem salt content was 35 ppt. Okay, it is should be 35 ppt, and shallow seas and open sea ocean are there. Then brackish water ecosystems, salt content between 5 to 35 ppt. And examples we have estuaries, salt marshes, mangroves, swamps, and forests. Aquatic organisms, we have neuston, periphyton, plankton, nekton, and bathos. So these are really very important. So just listen it carefully. Neuston lives in a air water interference, okay, not attached to the stem. Okay, and examples: floating plants. So neustons are floating plants, you can say. Then periphyton, periphytons are attached to the stem and the leaves of rooted plants. Examples: sessile algae. Okay, then plankton, these includes both microscopic plants like algae, phytoplankton, and animals like protozoans like zooplankton. Okay, so these are two types: phytoplankton and zooplankton. Then nectons contains animals which are swimmers, covers swimming insects to the blue whale. So if we have many of type of fishes are there in the ocean and marine ecosystem. So whichever are good swimmers, these are covered in necton. So these are from this insects to blue whale, all these covers in the necton part of aquatic organism. Then benthos, but what is benthos? Living in the bottom of the water mass. So these are not very much known about, but we can call it benthos. Now, factor limiting the productivity of aquatic habitat. What are the factors? Sunlight. Based on light penetration, two zones are there: photic zone and aphotic zone. So let me explain you further. Photic zone, upper layer of aquatic ecosystem. This photosynthesis plus respiration is done. Then aphotic zone is lower layers of aquatic ecosystem. Plant growth are restricted because of no sunlight over there. Okay, then what winter kill, layer of snow cover, if it is there, then maybe organisms are not able to survive. Then oxygen, freshwater oxygen average concentration of 0.0010 percentage, or by weight it is 10 ppm. 10 ppm. Okay, then oxygen is less soluble in warm water, temperature is high, and then oxygen is low. And oxygen is low, then aquatic organisms die. Okay, so when temperature is high, then oxygen level should be going to low, and when oxygen level going to low, then aquatic system or aquatic organism can be die. Then lake ecology we are going to discuss. Lake ecology in India, natural lakes are lie in Himalayan region, the flood plains of Indus, Ganga, and Brahmaputra. Lake Sudarshan in Gujarat is Girnar area was perhaps the oldest man-made lake in India. Okay, 300 BC approx. So Sudarshan Lake is the oldest lake of India. Lake can be freshwater or brackish water or saline water lake on the basis of nutrient content categorized in oligotrophic, mesotrophic, and eutrophic. Very low nutrient, that is oligotrophic. Okay, then moderate nutrient is there, then mesotrophic, and then eutrophic, highly nutrient. So very low nutrient water quality is good. Okay, oligotrophy mein. Then removal of nutrients from a lake, how is it done? Flushing with nutrient poor water on site, P elimination, then on site algae removal by filters and P absorbers. Okay, pollution absorb, then on site algae skimming and separator thickening, then artificial mixing and desertification, then harvest of fishes and microphytes, then sludge removal, Eutrophication, enrichment of an aquatic system by adding nutrient. HAB, harmful algae blooms. These are really important. Harmful algae blooms. What are these? HAB blooms can appear greenish, brown, and reddish orange. Okay, red tide is common name for such a phenomena where certain phytoplankton species contain pigments and blooms are occur when survival colonies start combining rapidly, when conditions such as nutrient concentration, salinity, and temperature are optional. Two reasons for bloom: nutrient enrichment because of the phosphates and nitrogen, and second one is warm water. So as I have already told, when warm water is there, so it means temperature is up, and when temperature is up, then oxygen level is down, and when oxygen is down, then microorganisms of aquatic sub aquatic area, they can be not able to survive properly. HABs, or you can say human sorry HABs means harmful algae blooms, can deplete oxygen in water and lead to low dissolved oxygen levels. Some algae species in blooms produce potent neurotoxins that can transfer through food web, may cause or kill zooplankton, shellfish, birds, fishes, marine mammals, and even human if they consume then directly or indirectly. HAB events adversely affect commercial and recreational fishing and tourism and valued habitats, impact on local economies and livelihood of coastal residents. HAB exposure can become airborne during a bloom, can people ill by inhaling toxins. Wetland ecosystem, intermediate between a deep water and terrestrial habitat or swallow lake, transitional in nature, experiences periodic flooding, wind regulated, include lake littorals, floodplains, and other marshy and swampy areas where water gets stagnated due to poor drainage or relatively impressive substrata, and mangroves due to similar ecological characteristics. Definition, you can say, have a wetland ecosystem definition is there: areas of marsh, fen, peatland water, whether neutral or artificial, permanent or temporary, with water that is static or flowing, fresh, brackish, or salt, including areas of marine water, the depth of the which at low tides does not exceed 6 meters. Dominant producer, macrophytes and grazing pathways in wetlands, detritus pathway. Okay, pathways in lakes, grazing pathways in lakes, but in wetlands, detritus pathway. Wetlands are inland wetlands and coastal wetland. Inland wetland we can divide in two parts: natural and man-made, and coastal wetland we can divide it to natural and man-made. So what are the difference between these? So very first, inland wetland, natural one, lakes, ponds, oxbow lakes, waterlogged, seasonal swamps and marshes. When we talk about man-made, reservoirs, tanks, waterlogged and ash ponds. Then coastal wetlands, natural one, estuary, lagoons, creek, backwater bay, coral reefs, tidal flat, mangroves, and salt marshes. And man-made, when we talk about salt pans and aquaculture. Then functions: habitat to aquatic flora and fauna, filtration of sediments and nutrients from surface water, then nutrients recycling, water purification, food mitigation, maintenance of stream flow, groundwater recharging, buffer shorelines against erosions, comprise an important a resource for sustainable tourism, recreational and cultural heritage, then stabilization of local climate, sources of livelihood to local people, supporting specific diversities. Reason for depletion: conversion of lands for agriculture, overgrazing, removal of sands and beds, aquaculture, pollution, domestic waste, climate change, industrial affluence, then agriculture runoff, then the habitat destruction and deforestation. Mitigation: we can mitigate it this situation like survey and demarcation, then protection of natural regeneration, then artificial generation, then weed control, afforestation, then wildlife conservation, removal of encroachment and eutrophication, abatement. Environmental awareness should be there. Then wetlands improve water quality. What are the features of wetlands? Improve water quality, flood control, protect from storms, then supply food, fodder, and fiber and raw materials, support livelihood of millions of people, support biodiversity, critical ecological significance. India has totally 27,403 wetlands, of which 23,400 444 are inland wetlands and 3,959 are coastal wetlands. Wetlands occupy 18.4%, in which 70% of under paddy cultivation. 70% in under paddy cultivation. National Wetlands Conservation Program (NWCP) implemented in the year 1985 to 86. So what are it is for? Covers 115 wetlands, prevent future degradation, ensure their wise use, lay down policy guidelines, physical assistance and all. Ramsar Convention: 170 countries signed this convention. International treaty signed in 1971, global conservation and sustainable use of wetlands. It is signed in city near Iran. Most productive system, low land areas, wetlands, plant birds and lock down the soil with their roots and to prevent soil erosion. So international effort for the conservation and wise use of wetlands. It is international effort. Some experts and officials from Ramsar advisory mission may visit the member country, analyze the situation and define how to tackle the threats. The Montreux record is register for of a wetland sites. Okay, then 2nd February 1971 as World Wetlands Day. So 2nd February, it is meant to be a wetland day, but World Wetlands Day exists everywhere, polar to tropic and high latitude to dry regions. Europe has maximum number of wetland sites. UK is the first one and the second one is Mexico. Then India became a member of Ramsar Convention in October 1981 and designated Chilka Lake, Odisha and Kollidio National Park, Rajasthan as its first two Ramsar site. So first one is Chilka Lake and second one is Kollidio National Park, Rajasthan. Then Bolivia has largest area under Ramsar Convention. First Ramsar site was Cobarung Peninsula. Coburung Peninsula in Australia. Smallest wetland of India is Renuka Lake, and you can say Vembad in largest wetland in India. So Vembad Lake, it is there, that is largest wetland, and the smallest one is Renuka Lake. Example: Wooler and Srinagar, Mansar, Jammu Kashmir, Chandratal and Renuka in Himachal Pradesh, then Ropar Lake in Punjab, Sambar and Kolidio in Rajasthan, then Loktak in Manipur, Rudrasagar in Tripura, Koleru in Andhra. Okay, estuary ecosystems located where river meets the sea. Freshwater river, a salty water sea. Okay, brackish also water formed also. Transported by tide from ocean. Most productive body of the world. Okay, then a subject to tidal fluctuations. Enclosed enclosed coastal body of water. Estuaries can be classified by water circulation patterns or their geomorphological features as bays, harbors, lagoons, and inlets. So these are also counted in these features like bays, harbors, lagoons, and inlets. Then biologically high productive zone estuary, we have some features like support a host of plants and animals, stores and recycle nutrients, traps sediment, trapped sediments, then form buffer between a coastal catchment and marine environment, then support diverse habitats such as mangroves, salt masses, and tree grasses, then absorb traps and detoxifies pollutants, and then acting as natural water filter. Then benefits: groundwater recharge, habitat breeding and nursery rounds, then biological productivity increased, then social benefits, community values, recreational values, then ports or harbors navigation is also easy, can be easy, then tourism is also maybe increased, agriculture, aquaculture, and industrial use also there, storm and erosion protection is also there. India has 14 major and 44 medium and 162 minor rivers drains into sea through various estuaries. Eastern coast has most estuaries than western coast. So it is really very important point. Then eastern coast has more estuaries than western coast. Issues which affected estuarine system: land use, mining industries, agriculture, dumping solid waste, then water flow modification in catchment areas, pollution and water quality, climate change, rise in water level, and a change in biodiversity profile, recreation and tourism, recreation fishing, example Chilka Lake, or navigation in Hugli. Okay, then commercial fishing, aquaculture, over exploitation of fish stock, obstructing the migratory routes, and ports and shipping also somehow disturb estuary system. Mangroves, the tidal forests found in areas of coast influenced by tides, type of vegetation found in areas with mud and silt, roots of mangroves trees and submerged underwater, found on the deltas of rivers, the Ganga, the Mahanadi, the Krishna, and the Godavari and the Kaveri. These roots are have joined. Now I'm going to tell you a part 2 of the same chapter, aquatic systems. Okay, so Sundarban Delta and coral reefs I'm going to talk about first. Sundarban Delta formed on the mouth of the Ganga and Brahmaputra. Brahmaputra you can call Meghna also. Sundari trees are found here. Durable timber. It is famous for durable timber. Trees example palm, coconut, korea, kirio, agar also grow here. Animals: Royal Bengal tiger, turtle, crocodile, gharials, and snakes are also found here. Another example of mangroves is of Bhitar Kanika, Orissa, second largest in Indian subcontinent. So mangroves, Bhitar Kanika is also a mangrove which is situated in Orissa. Then Godavari Krishna Deltic Basin, or you can say Deltic region, mangrove vegetation in the coastal zone of Kerala and Andaman and Nicobar. In Gujarat, New West Coast, mangroves, Avicenna officials, and Rhizophora neutrona are found mainly in the Gulf of Kutch and Kori Creek. So these are, I think, a vegetation name, and it's really tough to learn, but you have to learn it. Okay, so these are found in Gulf of Kutch. Avicenna marine and Avicenna officials. Mangroves profits. What are the profits of mangroves? Moderate monsoon and tidal floods, prevents coastal erosion, then mangroves protects coastal lands from tsunami, hurricanes, and flood, and then it increase natural recycling of nutrients, support numerous flora and avifauna of wildlife also, then supply wood, firewood, medicinal plants, and edible plants also, employment and opportunity to local communities. Threat: what is the main threat to these type of mangroves? Mainly destroyed for conservation of area, for agriculture purpose, fuel and fodder, and salinization, mining, oil spills, and aquaculture, shrimp farming, use of chemical pesticides and fertilizers for industrial purpose. Now it's time to understand coral reefs. Coral is actually a living animal, very small, tiny animal. It has symbiotic relationship with zooxanthellae, microscopic algae, which live on coral. Okay, which live on coral. Then zooxanthellae assist the coral in nutrient production through its synthetic activities. These activities provides coral with the fixation carbon compounds for energy and increase calcification, so mediate element and nutrient flux. Tissues of corals themselves colorless. Okay, so these are white. Corals tissues are white, but the corals receive their coloration from zooxanthellae living algae with their tissues. Okay, so zooxanthellae algae give them color, but itself coral is white in color. Okay, it is colorless. Two types of corals are there: hard corals and soft coral. Hard corals only hard corals build reefs, so only hard corals are able to build reefs. The builders of coral reefs are tiny animals called polyps. As these polyps thrive, grow, then die, they leave their limestone or calcium carbonate skeletons behind. The limestone is colonized. Sorry, the limestone is colonized by new polyps. Then coral reef may be branched, table like, or look like massive cups or boulders or knobs. Features in clean and clear warm water it needed. Then high biological diversity, productive coastal system ecosystem it shows. Then corals are slow growing colonies of animals, while zooxanthellae are fast growing plants. So this is also important. Corals are slow growing colonies of animals, but zooxanthellae is the zooxanthellae are fast growing plants. And then found in tropic and subtropical water. Classification, these are having four types: fringing, patches, and barrier and atoll. Fringing reefs are there contiguous with shore and found in Andamans. Then patches, we are talking about isolated and discontiguous patches it in Park Bay and Gulf of Mannar and Gulf of Kutch. So Gulf of Kutch has patch type of reefs. Then barrier reefs, linear offshore, run parallel to the coastline. The water between reef and the shore, tremendous lagoon is there in Nicobar and Lakshadweep. We can found barrier reefs. Then atoll, circular and semicircular reef atolls of Lakshadweep and Nicobar. So Lakshadweep and Nicobar having these type of atolls. For four major reef founding areas, very much reef you can find out there in Andaman Nicobar, which has fringing, barrier, and atoll type of reefs. Then the second one is Lakshadweep. It has barrier and atoll. Then Gulf of Mannar, which has patch leaf, and then Gulf of Kutch's patch leaf. So if you would want to numbering these four, so number one is Andaman Nicobar, then Lakshadweep, then Gulf of Mannar, and then Gulf of Kutch. So functions you can say provide substrate for mangroves, then largest biogenic calcium carbonate producer, then provide habitat for the large variety of animals and plants. Then corals adapted for capturing plankton from water. Then natural protective barriers against erosion and storm. Then threats, what are the main threats for these coral reefs? Natural causes, outbreak of reef destroying mechanism bleaching, and anthropogenic causes due to chemical pollution, industrial pollution, mechanical damage, shipping, and tourism and mining. Then over exploitation, overfishing, and increased sedimentation. Then predatory outbreaks. Then El Nino and Southern Oscillation (ENSO) events. Ecological causes of coral bleaching. So, what are the causes of coral bleaching? Very first, temperature. Solar radiation UVR 280 to 400 nm have been implicated in bleaching. Then xenobiotics like copper and herbicides and oils, so these are also somehow related with coral bleaching, because of these coral bleach started. Then third one, you can say subaerial exposure, extreme flow tides, ENSO or tectonic upliftment can be caused. Then freshwater dilution, because it needs some saline water, and sedimentation, and inorganic nutrients like ammonia and nitrates. Key initiatives to protect our marine and coastal environment: COMAPS, COMAPS, Coastal Ocean Monitoring and Predation System, which was established in 1991, and SICOM, CCOM, SICOM. It is for Society of Integrated Coastal Management, which was established in 2010. So these are two something very important for Sundarban and coral reefs. Now I'm going to add in the same chapter, chapter number 11 also, marine organisms. Okay, so the plankton, which is bit, it is somehow it little bit related to this one. That's why I added plankton. It includes both microscopic plants like algae, phytoplankton, animals like crustaceans are protozoans, or you can say zooplankton, found in all aquatic ecosystems except certain moving areas. Swift moving water. Their distribution is controlled by currents. Phytoplankton, these are microscopic plant organisms that live in aquatic environments, both salty and fresh. Some may be bacteria or protosts or single called plants. Has chlorophyll too, consume carbon dioxide and release oxygen, present throughout the lighted region of all seas and oceans, including polar regions. Classification by size: macroplankton, microplankton, nanoplankton, which are you can say cover most, macro and nano. These are covering most, and ultraplankton. Factor affecting planktons: very first, light, uppermost layer it is situated, and need for photosynthesis, so it should be indicated that it should be there on the uppermost part of layer. Then nutrient, inorganic nutrients need nitrogen and phosphorus, need iron too. Then salinity, lower salinity needed. Salinity is also needed but lower one. Grazing by zooplankton, and temperature. So grazing by zooplankton, the importance foundation of the aquatic food web. Okay, some are responsible for death and disease, release biotoxins, red tides or harmful algal blooms, then consume carbon dioxide equivalent to forests and land and plants, then responsible for most of the transfer of carbon dioxide. Zooplankton role in food web for the food chain, abundant within mangrove waterways. Then determine the quantum of fish stock used for assessing the productivity vis-a-vis fishery resources, fertility, and health status of the ecosystem. Seagrasses. What are seagrasses? Specialized angiosperms, marine flowering plants that resembles grass in appearance. In shallow water bodies, you can find out there. IUCN has accorded high priority for conservation of seagrass. Produce flowers have strops like or oval leaves or and root system. Grows in shallow coastal water with sandy and muddy bottoms. Then adopted to life in the salt water. Southeast coast of Tamil Nadu, lagoons of few Lakshadweep and Andaman Nicobar also. So these are Andaman Nicobar, a few parts of Lakshadweep, and southeastern coast of Tamil Nadu. You can get seagrass. What are the main functions? To reduce wave and current energy, to filter suspended sediments from the water, stabilize bottom sediments to control erosion. Then also nutrient sink, filtering nutrient and chemical inputs to the marine environment. then provide habitat for marine invertebrates and fishes also. Threat to seagrasses, mm, eutrophication, siltation, then trawling and coastal engineering constructions and over exploitation for commercial purpose. Five turtle names found in India. What are these five turtle types? Leatherback sea turtle, green turtle, the olive ridley turtle, the hawksbill turtle, and then loggerhead turtle. So this much is all about. We will meet you in the next audio. Till then, take care. Bye bye.